Welcome in. My name is Barrett. This is Tempo League. Today we're going to talk all about 4 on the floor. And first, let's answer the question, why is it called that? Why is it called 4 on the floor? Well, your kick drum, it's on the floor, and with all of these grooves that we're going to look at today, there are 4 kick drums. Okay, it's playing on every quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to dive into 5 different grooves today from different genres, different eras, and we're going to learn more about 4 on the floor. Let's get into it, and let's start with a groove from 1973. This is Earl Young. He's playing with Harold Melvin in the Blue Notes, and the song is The Love I Lost. Let's check it out. This is really the first time that we get that disco hi-hat. Earl Young is credited with the disco hi-hat. So 4 on the floor existed before 1973, for sure it did, but this is where we really get the disco groove that is so well known. Some things to note here. Let's take a look at just the kick drum, okay? Check this out. All right, so do you see how my foot, I'm playing heel up, my heel is off of the ground, but I'm not flailing around, it's under control, okay? I'm not trying to kill the kick drum. I am burying the beater. You can notice the beater hits the head and stays put, and there's just a feel with that. It drives it home, and 4 on the floor, you often want to drive it home. But I'm kind of pulling back a little bit. If you listen to the track, he's not just like digging into that kick drum with all he's got. You know, he's keeping it nice and groovy, and it's breathing, and that's what we're going for here. We're not going for this. You see how out of control that is? My foot is coming off of the kick drum pedal, and that's just a recipe for disaster, right? We do not want that. You want your foot to stay in contact with the pedal. That heel is off the ground, but after each hit, you can see my heel kind of comes back down. I'm not tense. I'm not flailing all over the place. Nothing like that. The hi-hat foot is also very relaxed. Okay, that's not a big motion. I'm just lifting up my toe just ever so slightly to allow the hats to come apart. I get that nice sizzle, and then I put my toe back down. Okay, not a massive motion there, and it gets the job done. You do not want to look or sound like this. Just a ton of unnecessary motion. Let's cut all that out. Let's groove, and let's get the feel right. Okay, we're going to jump to 1978. We've got Charlie Watts on drums with the Rolling Stones, and the song is Miss You. Let's go ahead and listen to it. And so with this, we're really driving home that kick, snare. It is heel up again, maybe even a bit more aggressive than The Love I Lost. And it's really important that you do not flam. You don't want your kick to come in before the snare or your snare to come in before the kick. Right? You don't want that to happen. Make sure that you're locking things together. You're lining things up. It sounds nice and clean. So notice there are really 2 ways to play the hi-hat here. You can play it where there's kind of an accented first note and the second note is more of a tap and it's more of a flowy thing. But if you listen to the record, what I think I hear, the 8th notes are kind of the same volume each time. So versus a t, 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 that's the first way. It's more of a t, 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 t. Okay? Go ahead and listen to these 2 examples and see if you can hear the difference. All right, so experiment with that. Listen to the track. To play the first version where you're playing more of an accent and then a tap, you really would do yourself a favor to build up some hand technique if you haven't worked on hand technique before. I've got a free playlist on YouTube. Check that out. Go through those videos, build up your hand technique. It'll do wonders, not just for this type of thing on the hi-hat, but for everything around the kit. So definitely spend some time there. So let's move on. We're staying in 1978, but now we're in the land of reggae. Okay, this is Carlton Barrett on the drums, drumming for Bob Marley and the Wailers. And the song is This Love? Now here's where you gotta have that heel down, and you gotta keep the kick really, really quiet and soft. Okay, if you overdo it and you play it too loud, you're gonna ruin the music. All right, and again, don't look like this when you play. Make sure that you're thinking about more than just the kick. What's your hi-hat hand doing, right? What's the snare doing? Does everything feel good together? If you need to work stuff out, go slow, no worries. Take it real slow and listen to the music and try to match what you hear there. It's much more about musicality than playing chops and stuff. Just take your time, build up that finesse, really groove to the music. Have fun with that. All right, now we're going to jump all the way to 2015. Now, make no mistake, there's tons of four on the floor examples between 1978, where we just left, and 2015, for sure. And I invite you to go study up on that and look up your own examples. But we're going to jump to EDM now, and we're going to look at Madeon, the French DJ. 2015, the song is Pay No Mind. I'm playing heel up, but I'm really driving home that kick and snare for this. So I mean, EDM, ton of energy. That's why the angle of my foot is more aggressive, right? I'm really trying to dig in that kick and snare. And on an acoustic kit, at least the way my drums are tuned and in this kind of room, I'm never going to be able to get the bigness, like the fatness of what Madeon gets on the track. For that, I'd go to my electronic kit. And I'd be able to do something like that and program the drums in. But you don't need that. You can absolutely play on an acoustic kit and get a great feel. Make sure that you've tuned lower, right? A lower sounding kick, a lower snare that's huge, rather than high and more like the reggae snare that's nice and high and a nice crack. Well, with the Madeon stuff, you're going to want nice and low and beefy and punchy. Flamming can be a huge problem here just because you're focusing so much on that kick and snare. If they're not lined up perfectly, that can really take away from the vibe of the music, so pay attention to that. All right, now we're going to jump back from 2015. We're going to go all the way back to the 20s and the 30s with jazz music, and we're going to talk about feathering that kick drum. We already mentioned feathering with Carlton Barrett, right, and the Is This Love song. But with jazz, we're not going to look at any particular track, but just think about 4 kick drums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and feathered, very soft. You've got the jazz ride with the skip note, right? Hi-hat on 2 and 4 for that just very classic, standard jazz ostinato. You cannot play the kick drum loud here. If you do, once again, you're going to ruin the music completely. All right, you can't get away with that. You've got to keep that nice and low. So here you're noticing the ride cymbal on the kick shot, but when I did the top shot, I had to pull the camera in and had to move the ride. So I'm playing that ride pattern on the crash. No problem, you can move that stuff around. But notice I'm not going crazy on the crash. I'm playing nice and light, okay? Think about all those things. Again, 4 on the floor, a big part of it is the kick drum. for sure. That's a huge piece of four on the floor, but it's not the only piece. We got to think about lots of other stuff. The drum set is one cohesive instrument, all of the pieces working together, and you got to think about it that way. So that is a brief look at four on the floor. It goes way deeper than this, but hopefully you've got an idea of where four on the floor has been used, certain genres it's been used in, and what to think about to make it sound the way it should in those different genres. Of course, you can always push the limits, break rules and stuff, but you got to understand those rules first. I sure hope you enjoyed this. Go have some fun with four on the floor. Play these grooves, do some research, figure out other grooves and other drummers you want to try to emulate, and have so much fun with it. This is Barrett with Tempo League. Thanks for checking this out, and I will see you on the next one.